Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday. Welcome aboard Flying with Mike, a special flight headed back from the Gold Coast of Australia. Since we couldn't get into Norfolk a few days ago, I just flew this flight and we'll just head on back. We're going to fly it this time, though, in the 767. And some of you are going, what kind of aircraft is that? This is actually the 767-200. So it's a little smaller, but packs the same punch, if you will. A little smaller total passenger payload, the whole 9 yards. Flying it again and set for Piedmont Virtual. So hope you all enjoy. We'll be taking a VHRMG back to Sydney. So give you a little look at this. We are XP12 with this plane. Just like yesterday, flying this, the 300 version. Today, the 200. And no, folks, I do not have the 400, so we will not see the 400. However, I do need to see my coffee. But anyway, hey, this is not a very long flight. I had big, grandiose plans for today. Well, that didn't happen. So, we're going to cram it all into this nice little flight we got from just south of Brisbane, Australia, down to Sydney. We're staying on the east coast, the right coast, headed on down. So without further ado, let's put ourselves up in the office and let's get to flying. And folks, another treat for you. This airplane's ready to go. That's the little delay. For the last half hour, 45 minutes, I've actually been prepping the plane for departure because I want to get rolling. I really wanted to stick to my plans, but it's a 4.5 hour second flight, and I said, no, we can't do that. No. Personally, I can do it, but family obligations, no. So family wins all the time here at Flying with Mike. So we try to do our little, little pull and tug here. We try to, keep things, where no one feels slighted. So we're getting this flight in. It's not bad, and we'll enjoy. It was a great flight up in X-Plane 11 with the 727. However, this time I'm bringing it back a little bit more in style from the 80s. So, and flying this Ansett, by the way, is no longer, I believe. You guys in Australia can, have fun with me in the chat room and tell me how wrong I am. But I think I'm right. All right. As always, though, we will look at Sim Toolkit here. Bringing it up right now. You should see it. Okay, so we're up here. Your Gomel is, but actually right below it is the airport, in fact, that we're at. And it is YBCG, so that's Yankee Bravo Charlie Golf. That's where we're departing from. And from what I understand, I think Brisbane is right here. Yeah, actually, I think it's this whole, so Gold Coast. Think of it as kind of like where I work. Okay, I live here in St. Louis. We have the Lambert International Airport. Not as grand as it used to be. But nonetheless, it's to our west. And then you have our little corn patch called Mid-America Airport, where Allegiant flies in. There's a reason why Allegiant flies in. Or one, get in and out a lot quicker. And two, probably, not going to swear to it, folks, but probably cheaper. So, anyway. So I kind of get that feel now looking at the map here of where we're at. And putting it in some weird context in my hemisphere. All right, so let's look at this, shall we? Real quick, you can already see there's some rain gathering out here to the west. So let's see what our METAR is reflecting. All right, so it's 190 at 8 for the winds. And you can see that down below on the runway graph. Visibility 4.9s and scattered at 5400s our first layer of clouds, and an overcast layer at 7000. Weather, not technically really an overarching factor here. Oh, we're going to fly through a little, but nothing dramatic. Temperature, a balmy 18, and the QNH here is a HEPAs of 1025. I think it's something like, well, we'll look at it in a minute because I've got them both on the altimeter. All right, so that's here. What's it like where we're going? All right, so as of 1530, okay, I got to remember, we're no longer central or sorry about that, folks, standard time. Ugh, I'm looking at that one. How can it be 1530? That is way off, but it can be. Winds were calm. Again, pretty much unlimited visibility. A few clouds pestering us at 3,000, and our ceiling at Sydney is set at 5,000 with that broken layer. It's also a balmy 18 there. Not really. That's actually a very comfortable 18. And the 1030 on the QNH. So all in all, we got a good flying day here. Unlike the day out to Norfolk Island where everything was below minimum. Load sheet. 186 people flying behind us. Not many open seats, folks, left for you. So grab them while you can because we're about ready to close the door. Payload set at 42,780 pounds. And we put almost 23,000 pounds of fuel in those wing tanks. Cost index 30, dragging our feet for some reason down there, but we'll be up at least at 38,000. So this dispatcher likes us to drag our feet, but higher, and our dispatcher over in the US is the other way around. Whoa, the two meet. And our alternate for today is YSTW, which is, hang on a second, what is that airport? I think that's Tamworth Airport in Australia. It's north and west of Sydney. All right, and we'll switch over to the live map now. Real quick, give you a peek in there. Come on, map. Are you going to load today? Oh, there it goes. Some days it just doesn't want to load. Right, there is no traffic. Shouldn't be. It's real early in the morning here in Australia. So, all right, so here we are, Brisbane. Like I said, it's right here. Sydney's right about here where you can't see my mouse. It's like right about there. All right, over here. Sorry. All right, so let's do it, folks. Like I said, Oka Cage seems like a big plane. It is a big plane for such a short run. Welcome in. Thanks for that first time chat. All right, one more time before we button her up. Now, I did have the choice of flying the Airbus today, and I thought about it. I really did, putting the 220 or 320 in the air. But let Boeing win the game this time. Boing. All right, so let's get to it. Let's close that door up. In this plane, folks, it works just like the 300. You just pull the EFB up either from here, select what you want, and I'm on the wrong one. Go back to ops, airplane, close the door, then we can come back to ground. And let me first make sure, okay, I am on the generator and that, okay. Reason I do that, folks, because if you were to go click, boom, it'd go dead. So I always like to double check. ACU can come off, stairs can come off. For now, we'll keep the chocks, but it's not going to be for very long. The other place you can get this from, it's right over here by the knee of the pilot. works just the same way. And let's take one more look out. All you'll see now are chocks in front of it. And it's a big little plane. If you were to have the 300, it'd stretch a little bit. So that's how you can really tell. You're going to have to look at the side. I don't think they're, no. You just have to kind of gauge, well, that one's longer than the other. All right, so let's do it, folks. We'll be basically, from here, let's do a quick look at our departure brief. All right, for taxi. Currently, we are parked in stand 4. We're going to push back facing north. Okay. So once we're facing north, we're going to taxi out to Alpha, to Charlie, all the way down to 1-4, do our takeoff. Once we're in the air, we're going to actually fly the Cudgin for departure. Now, it's not showing up here, but we're basically flying out to Cudgin, make that right-hand turn, and go direct APAGI, and then join our route from there. ATIS here, or I'm sorry, departure will be with Brisbane if they were up. Airport is 21 feet above sea level. Transition at 10,000. And this is considered an RNAV departure. So technically, if you don't have the RNAV equipment, you don't fly this. However, with our 727, and the 747 wasn't even on the schedule, but say you do fly one out of here, 200. You'd have to be on the FMCs to fly these. Otherwise, you just fly pretty much direct APAGI. All right, and that is the departure brief for the charts. Now, in the plane. All right, let's pull up the FMC. For departure today, we're going to do a slightly derated takeoff. Our outside air is 19. We're going to do about 30 degrees TO, only because I don't know how to set it to TO 1 or 2. We'll put flaps 5 to work and trim of 6.2. And we're looking to be V1 127. We're going to rotate her off at 130 and be able to clear a 50-foot obstacle at V2 138. All right, and now if you don't want to see these reference speeds, just click this line select key right here and they go away. Same thing when they come in. Oh, I forgot they delete when you do that. There we go. And clear. So if I click it again, they'll clear again. All right, pre-flight's complete. Aircraft's ready to go. Let's do something we don't normally do just to make the person happy so he doesn't whine at us through most of the flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we request your full attention.
And I keep him that low so he doesn't annoy me. But you can actually turn that volume up and down. We bring that back up. Just go over here, or you could have there. Where's sound? Where the heck is sound? Well, that's weird. You can choose it here. Anyway, you would go right here.
Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. Each door is equipped with an inflatable slide, which may also
Sounds
be
kind of weird.
and used as a life raft.
Well, let's just do this. Make it to where we barely hear it again. All right. So where was that? Huh. Somewhere within that. I don't know where it was hiding, folks. All right, well, we're ready to push back. So, got the APU already up and running on bleed air and on gen. And all doors closed. 8 cars is already a running. And we're ready for better pushback.
Life vests are located in a pouch under your seat or between the...
And ground to cockpit. G'day, mate. Go ahead and show me where you'd like to point now.
I'm going to have to say, this guy cracks me up already. He's better than the one that's got way too much espresso in him.
Ground to cockpit. So it's driving up right now.
And folks, 1 second, I'm going to see if my wife needs some help. Stand by.
may be used when the seatbelt sign is off, or when permitted by the crew. Mobile telephones, remote control toys, or any electronic devices operating with an antenna must be turned off at all times. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors installed in the lavatories is prohibited by law. You will find this and all the other safety information in the card located in the seat pocket in front of you. We strongly suggest you read it before takeoff. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask one of our crew members. We wish you all an enjoyable flight. Thank you.
Alright, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect? So connected and bypass been inserted. Release the parking brake when you're ready.
All right, folks, sorry about that. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her carrying out a lot of stuff, so I thought I'd see if she needed help. All right, let's do it, folks. Let's light this firecracker, shall we? Beacons on. They're still connected, right? Yep. All right, let's do it. Parking brake off.
Alright, starting the pushback, and he may spool them. Clear to start engines.
Kind of like this guy. Oh, I know why we're not moving. I'm like, why aren't we moving? Most of them, they get rid of them. I just found out they don't in this one. All right, to start this beast, what you got to do, folks, turn the packs off. Okay, got your left, right, and center on. Hang on, I think I just... That is why I put the covers on, folks. All right, and then simply, I'm going to do it from this angle. Go into engine. Reason being, when you get to the line here, you kick your fuel on. All right, let's go to ground on number 2. And careful, folks, they come up quick. Much quicker than the real planes. Also, if you're going to use VATSIM, make sure you have both set up. Okay, it's not wanting to do it again. Hang on. There we go, and make sure these are lit up. That's something I did forget to do. All right, so we'll get that going right here. Start up number uno. Okay, it is cranking up. Let's go to the 2 on 1. Okay, now let me get that flight plan going.
Alright, mate. Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Real quick. Okay, flight plan's in there, and they said we could set the brake. Brake on.
Alright, mate. Disconnecting toes. Stand by.
I don't think he knew where the heck he was going. There we go. Get the right airplane up there. Kind of waiting on him.
Toes disconnected. Bypass pin, yeah, it's removed. I'll give you thumbs up on the right and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
Alright, see you on the right side. Thanks for flying with Mike. Alright, so the engines are started. Let's wait for him now. We'll probably have to come forward. Okay, and as soon as he gets out, we'll see him. Thumbs up. Here we go. And I always give him a little lights just in case he didn't see. Alright, continuing on. So the engines are up and running. Parking brakes set. Tow vehicles away. Go up top here. Left, right, hydraulic pumps turned on. Left, right engine bleeds on. Packs back on. APU bleed off. Generator. Oh, how about we turn the APU first, then the generator all off. Before we taxi, we need to come down here, put the auto brakes to reject. Flight directors are set. We're auto and auto. That does not seem right. Oh, that's right, because we changed numbers. All right. 148. 139's our runway, 38,000. We have no intermediates. State trim. Needs to be 6.2. Got a feeling we're going to be trimming down big time on takeoff. We'll see. Flaps 5. Okay. And we'll check that. EFIS set for 200. Range 20 map, range 40 map over here, and radar coming on. And we'll tilt up a little. 5 degrees, okay. And flaps show 5 on the gauge. All right, now the last thing I like to do here, folks, and this is something I wish Boeing would incorporate into a lot of their aircraft now. With Airbus and even that MD-11, affectionately called by me Trash 11, you can see your trim in both the flight controls and in a general setting on your gauges. Now, Airbus doesn't do it in general, but you see the number and you can make sure you're set for takeoff. See what it looks like back here. I mean, it looks good. And what you're doing is setting that horizontal stabilizer, the whole thing, to 6.2. And then on the tab, it's on the wing, should be an actual tab as well to fine tune it. If you ever watch a show on history called the Search for Sound, or how the speed of sound was broken by Chuck Yeager, you start learning what that horizontal stabilizer, the movable horizontal stabilizer, how that helped make that event and make that happen so we have supersonic flight. And the transonic flight that we do in most airliners today, because that's the same speeds, just not over the sound barrier, but close enough where that had to be manipulated to keep it stable. All right, so speaking of which, let's do those control surfaces. Hang on, I'm going to do it one more. Just want to see if I ease it. Okay, it's not. Okay, elevator. You always want to make sure it centers. Now, if you have your yaw damper on, this one could be a challenge. Turn it off. If it shows it already deflected, turn it off till you're at the end of the runway, then use it. Otherwise, you won't be able to do a good flight control check. You need to do that, folks, because there have been many real-world, really bad crashes because pilots got complacent and left the control locks in on the surfaces. Needless to say, when I went to pull back, the airplane's not going to come up, folks, if that control locks in. Which is a bad thing when the runway comes up on you at the end. All right, so we've got everything set. We're ready to go. Let's begin our taxi. Gold Coast traffic and set 15. Heavy, taxiing to runway 14. Okay, APU is showing 0 on the RPMs. Let's switch to engine, and then let's get going. Wow, dang. All right, got a nice camera here. Again, I want to thank V1 for showing this sight off in many of his airplanes. I decided to put it on my streams. I really like this viewpoint. So, all right, so we're on our way down to the other end. Folks, again, thank you for being a part of Flying with Mike today. Kind of getting rolling a lot quicker than we're normally used to. Trying not to drag my feet on taxi. But if you like what you're seeing, and Sook, 68, welcome aboard. Thanks for being a part of the stream. But folks, if you're new, click that follow button. That way you'll know when we surprise everyone and go live, especially on a weekend. Or you can go over to our Discord channel and always see our schedule and know when we're going to come up. So, but anyway, I hope you have a great Saturday, great weekend. The second flight that I had planned, we'll just have to figure out if we could do it another time. So, because I'm definitely not going to have the time for it today. But folks, we are down under today, coming out of the Gold Coast in Australia. For those not familiar or too lazy to pull a map up, we're just south of Brisbane. And of course, like many flights in Australia, we'll end up in Sydney. So, all right, while we're taxiing, let's go ahead and get our before takeoff checks done. Speed brakes are off. Runway, nose gear, MCP. Second here, folks. Auto throttles armed. Boom and boom. Auto brake set. And let's get our transponder up and running. Okay. And while I get myself down to the end of the runway, see if we're up on similar. We certainly are. Let's see, I hear good things about the Flight Factor 767. So even if the type doesn't do, we'll be in good company. You know, I like it. I mean, part of me likes, I love the 757. Don't get me wrong. But the only reason I went with this plane, folks, and it's total honesty here, I like the longer legs that it can provide when we want to do them. Now, granted, do I do those longer legs on stream? Not normally. So the 757 would do a good job there. But I don't know. That's my big like of this airplane. That and the fact that, well, they both do cargo too, so I can't even use that excuse. Although rumor has it, FedEx is going to stop using 757s in Europe, or something along those lines came out. So, yeah, that's going to be a kind of a game changer over there. I know the 757s for many smaller airlines were, for a lack of a better term, hangared because they were hangar queens. They were breaking, having part problems. I don't know the whole story behind that, but they were having a whole lot of problems with them. So they just hangared them and went with different aircraft for the routes that the few routes that they used them on. But I know American, I think, is still going strong with them. United, many European airlines are. So it's not like the airplane has seen its end of life, but maybe, who knows? If so, its cousin, sister, whatever you want to call this one, isn't going to be far behind. All right, we're at the end of the runway, folks. Checks complete. Strobes on. Gold Coast traffic, Ansett 15 heavy, departing 1-4. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and plan a rolling takeoff. And you know, I find another interesting thing with the 7.5 and 7.6. The more popular 757 is the 757-200, where the 757-300, we're going to do a from rest. Never mind, we'll do it that way. 757-300 isn't used as heavily as it could in many airlines. Converse, the 767-200 is like the 300 of the 57s, and the 300 767 is the one everyone likes to use. Kind of interesting how that kind of turned out. All right, we're on the runway, lights on. Throttling up. As soon as we're stable, we're gone. Brakes off, here we go. By the way, there is a click spot for toga right here next to speed. Boy, she is taking her time. I like this. There's 80 knots. B1, rotating. Aussie rate, gear up. Bye-bye. Boy, she is just lumbering along, isn't she? I had to get back into her real quick. It didn't look good. All right, now we're starting to make it look right. And here comes the trim as expected. And autopilot. I am on the map, aren't I? I was not. Okay, we're gonna find out. Oh, there we go. Now things look right. Why does it look upside down? Okay, flaps coming up. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, folks, whoever did the performance work on this plane did a really good job. Okay, flaps are up. All right, we'll get our radars up and running, even though I don't think we're going to see much, and we're on our way. And TCAS, let's do it this way. Okay, there we go, folks. We are climbing up. Right after takeoff checks are complete. Flaps are up, lights go off at 10,000. As well as we set 2992 or 1013, depending on which altimeter settings you use. There's 10,000. And let's kind of zoom it in here. Okay, 1013. Now, you see the altitude disagreed. That is because this one is still reading 1024, and it should be reading, whoops, 1012. We click this set screw right here, upper right-hand corner of the altimeter, and then that'll set our other one, and the disagree goes away. Aviator Joe 23 right, welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow and being a part of the stream. Hope you enjoy. Hope you take advantage of hopping over to our Discord channel to know when we fly again. I do not have next week's schedule put together as of yet, but there'll be at least 2 or 3 flights next week, so on stream. So, but again, thanks for the follow. Thanks for coming aboard. Hope you enjoy the flights down under. And because of that, I think it's time for another flight. And yes, I am working on getting a new sound setup for this plane because I really hate this. I really do. I'm just wrestling. Do I spend money for it or do I look for a freebie? No, well, depends. Are we? You got a good point there, Aviator. Do you read it 2-3 right or 2-3 Romeo? uh, yeah, that's a good call. Are we talking airplane or are we talking runway? Good catch. Good, good. I like that creativity. I love it. All right. I will be right back here. Let me get the wing lights off, and I have to fold some laundry real quick. Otherwise, it's going to keep buzzing in the background and being a nuisance. So stand by, and I will be right back. All right, folks, we're back with you, and I do apologize, but if I didn't do that, it just keep going off and off. All right, so we're reaching up to 29,000 right now. On our way to Sydney. And I hope y'all are having a great Saturday. We in the States here are about a quarter of the way through-ish, so to speak. 12 o'clock. At least in my time zone, let's put it that way. I know others are well into their Saturdays and maybe even their Sundays already. But again, welcome in, folks. I hope you all have a great day, great weekend ahead of you as we continue our southerly trek down to Sydney. All right, pardon me there, folks, resetting screens. All the updating I've done, I never came back in and made sure this one was up to date. And lo and behold, it wasn't. All right, so we got about another 1,500 feet to go. We're cruising along at 463 on the true airspeed, and should be leveling off here real quick. Out there we see our top of descent. Well, it's still quite a ways off, so that is good. Good news there. It's going to be pretty close to CORKY. Okay. Alrighty, so that gives us plenty of time here to talk about the descent coming up and arrival into Sydney. Last I checked, and I do not know how to do this outside of the U.S. territories and U.S. Major airports. The D-ATIS that comes out of Sydney, I have no idea how to pull it up to see what the real world is calling weather conditions there. So we have to kind of, pardon the pun, wing it. So I'm just getting a little bit more range out of the aircraft here. All right. So right now the current ATIS in there is, I'll just go ahead, we'll do it this way. Uh, 3305. So now we finally have some wind. So that justifies me landing 3-4 left in my mind. Otherwise, I was coming in 1-6 right. So we'll set up, and I think we are already. Or, yeah, we're on 3-4 left. Okay. All right, so we're looking at a top of descent in about 144 miles. So that's a real good time now to get in there, talk this arrival brief out, and see what we're dealing with. And I'm going to bring Sim Toolkit up for that, showing a little bit of what it can do off. I mean, Volanta, I think, can do the same thing. Don't really use it as much anymore as I used to. Pretty much rely on this free, awesome software. Beyond flight planning, VFR flight planning, you can go in if you get to like Gold Coast. Well, what flies out of Gold Coast? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I'm up in the U.S., not down under here. So you could go to flight schedules and find out. You can get your fleet up, real airline ops. You've got a lot of tools here, folks. Landing data like you won't believe. We'll go through that when we get into Sydney. I love this program. So the fact that I can tie NavGraph in here with this little icon here is awesome. All right. So you can put your flight in here. This is charts 8, folks, and there's been a couple of updates since it first released, and it took me a little bit for it to grow on, but folks, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a dynamite program. You can put your routes in, put your route in here, it puts everything down here so you can just quickly go through and pull up what you need. We'll show that here for the approach. And it's tied into Sim Toolkit, so as a streamer, you only have to put one up to get everything you want to present at that time in your stream. Really, really love this. Now, we're set up. There's the departure we just did, which doesn't, for some, oh, I know why it didn't. You have, if you go into charts here, SID, it doesn't show up, but it is a departure. It's just under the APAGI. Hide that, go back to flights, and let's come down here. All right, so as you can see, we're coming in and on the BOREE 3 Alpha arrival. Now again, we're going to do the 3-4 left. Why didn't it give me the choices? All right, well, we're going to go final. All right, some of these have transitions that'll close it right up. So you can see how it already looks. And our charts are down here for us, both Cat 2, Cat 1, Cat 3. So if the weather is really down under, you've got the charts already at your fingertips down here. All right, so BOREE 3, let's just pull it up for now. So we're going to come over BOREE, but we're going to be over Vassar at or above 8,000, but we're going to be at or below 9,000 by barrow. Okay. So that means we can be anywhere from 8,000 up to include burrow, because we just have to be below 9. Coming down, Alves, gentle, Zonka above 6,000, Dudok, Nasho, and then we're vectored from there on. Okay, here is our ILS. It's the southernmost ILS triangle. Again, directions for 3-4 left, just as I said them, folks. And then we expect from Nasho vectors to the final approach. Okay, and now up at the top, you get a brief run, ATIS. Oh, they may not have a D-ATIS system at Sydney because it isn't showing. A lot of airports out there have it, but basically what the D means is digital. So that means you can go on the internet and see this. So say you're going from Honolulu. If it says D-ATIS to Sydney, I would thought Sydney had a D-ATIS. But if it, hey, teach, they may not. You would have been able to check that ATIS en route on a computer. Or, of course, if you're in the newfangled airplanes today, probably pull it up on your FMC ACAR system and you got the weather. Heck, for that matter, you can get the ATIS usually. All right, so there you go, folks. That's how this is going to be for our star into the airport. Weather is still looking fairly decent. Let's double check that. $330 at 5, 3,000, 5,000. We've got no ceiling, so that's great. So yeah, weather is perfect for flying into there. 1029. All right, so we're going to come off of this at Nasho as we were coming down this way. We're going to vector to what is that? Soig, and then join the localizer. Okay, let's do this in 3 parts, this chart. All right, because some people are like, what the heck is all of this information and why doesn't it make sense to me? I have a lot of people that do ask me these things. All right, first off, your frequencies that you could have to tune in from approach to the tower, which in this case, well, I don't know what director is. I know in Europe that's usually a center, but I don't know what this is. Here's your towers. And monitor PRM 119.4. I don't understand that either. That's a new one on me. Again, folks, each area of the world can be really different from the way the altitudes are given to you. Instead of feet, they're in meters. To PRM monitor and directors, to, whole litanies of things. Transition levels, way out there in some places. 10,000 to be specific here. So this just gives you a guide to what to expect to be changed to. And this includes VATSIM. For the most part, those guys will follow these channels to some degree. However, if we are landing 3-4 left, which we are, this is our localizer for that runway. This is what we track laterally to the runway. We want it dead center. And it also has our glide slope component into it to get us our vertical component. So 110.1, we have a radio in this aircraft specifically for that, and we have to set it. Also have to set the final approach course, 335. Now at ATRET, real quick so you can get an idea what the heck's an ATRET. It's a fix 6 miles from the runway. That is where we have to be at 1,900 feet on the glide slope. Can't be above or below. You've got to be on it at that point. Your decision altitude here. Now, in MSL, it's what's in bold. MSL, or I like to sometimes call it above sea level. MSL is just mean sea level. So it's your altitude above that. So it's 220 feet above sea levels. Okay. Conversely, we have a 206 above ground. Difference being one measures from sea level. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of Asia where there's no ocean nearby. Above sea level is wherever the ocean would be, way out, wherever. Whatever that height is above. Above the ground is just that, where your feet are touching above that. Usually it's 200 feet, but they got 206 here. Probably the difference being right here. Here's your missed approach. Pretty quick, pretty easy. At 500 feet, turn left, track 320 to 3000, then as directed by ATC. Okay, and then the rest of this tells you when you see altitudes, what is your altimeter set into, HEPA or inches? And we're in HEPA here, so we'll be 1029, I think is what we're running right now over here, when we drop below 10,000. All right, and then some other things like approach speeds, 10 miles out, ATRET, and so forth. Now, the middle of this, let me back it up a little because I like to combine two sections at once. All right, so here's really the middle of the chart. Okay, there's nothing important up there. Okay. So this is going to show your routing. Now, what does this number 1 here mean? That's the first thing that should have caught people's eyes. Caught mine. And I'm not seeing it. However, this number 1 is SOSIG. Aircraft may be radar vectored to the final approach course. Okay. But I don't know what this number 1 yet means. Or if it's something to do with over here. Don't know what this is. Maybe that's something to do with Prem. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to be vectored from our Nosha to Sogig and track it on in. So we'll go 9.0, that's a fix. ATRET. ATRET's down here, and when it has that treasure chest X marking the spot, that is on glide path. It doesn't mean you have to be here, folks. You can still be descending down to get it. But at this point, you need to be on glide slope on localizer for that 5-6 miles in. And then as you track in, folks, when you get to the missed approach point, which I don't like this, it's 0.4 ISN, but it doesn't give you a stopwatch time. So you know if you cross that time limit and you don't see the runway, you're going around. This is requiring you at 0.4 if you don't see that runway to go around. Okay. Our approach speed, I have a feeling, will be close to 140, so about 740 knots. Or, I'm sorry, 740 feet per minute descent should attain the 3-degree glide path they're looking for here in Sydney. Piles for our ILS, or our approach lights, PAPIs both sides. Here's our missed approach again. Lastly is minimums and circling requirements. Okay, minimums here. A little different than other places. It looks, I can already tell you people are going, wow, you can do that? Yeah. So we can come down to 206 above the ground. Okay, look at it this way. Bold, that is your altimeter. Parentheses, that is your radar altimeter. Okay, That's how you can look at these two values. So if you're looking just strictly at the altimeter when you hit 220, if you don't see that runway, off you go. Now you're allowed 200 ceiling or above. Ceiling is broken or overcast. Visibility. Now this is the kicker. I don't see this much at many airports, and I am on the Cat 1 approach. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. What am I on? Okay. Well, they're saying we can come down to an RVR of 800 or a visibility of 0.8 kilometers or more. Folks, that is really, although I guess that is getting kind of close to a half mile. Normally it's a half mile in places where they're not in meters. So, you know, maybe it's not as like, holy crap, we're going to get down pretty close to the airport. So we'll kind of see how it works out. But that's your charting. Once we hit the runway, we're going to be landing on this runway. My goal is to come off by Alpha 2, cross, or if I'm lucky, cross 725, and then get off at Gulf 1. Taxi to the gates right here. All right, now we're getting close to top of descent. Let's go ahead and pull this away. You can see we're probably within about 50 miles. I'll bet maybe even closer. 35, yeah. So let's do a quick run here. I'm going to pull it up to make it easier. And we'll go 30 and 129. So 130 is our landing speed. 130, let's see, 140 will be our approach speed. Okay. Again, there's the 110.10. Checking that out real quick here. Bear with me a second. 110.10, 335 looks good. Now, I said we got to set this. Come down here to this radio right here. There's your frequency. And there's your course. So we're going to intercept 335, track it in. All right, and here we go. We are now 22 miles out. Let's set that first altitude to... Oh, I haven't got sim brief away. Sorry, folks. Real quick, that radio, I'm just going to go straight to it now. Down here in the center, right here is what you set for your ILS. All right, and then over here, let's set, I believe it's 9,000. Set 8,000. And folks, that is for all runways. And then we have a 6,000 requirement at Zonka. Okay, we are set. Two ways, right off the top of my head, I know how to descend this aircraft. One, just let it reach the point, down it goes. Okay. The other way, let's pull this back up. You will either have a VNAV tab up here, or you'll have these three. If you have VNAV, go to your descent page. Now, on that descent page, on a lot of them, you have a forecast page, and that's where you would put your transition level in. Obviously, this one, it's right here. Otherwise, now we're set. All we got to do is push descend now. Or, again, just wait for it to cross. On this chart, it's right here. and she'll start down on the descent. I usually try to set it up a little early. My only thing about this I don't like, it doesn't tell you distance at all for the descent. So let's go ahead and descend now. Now you see the descent angle bar to let you know you're on path, as well as sometimes it shows up here like it's on the ILS. So we are now beginning our descent into Sydney. And again, folks, if you've liked the stream and you're new, smash that follow button, folks. I'd love to see you on upcoming streams. If you're watching us on YouTube a few days after this broadcast, folks, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. That way you get an email letting you know when a new video has been posted. But again, thank you all for joining us. Hope you all enjoy the ride into Sydney here on and set 15 Heavy. Like I said, it's just a nice little short haul. And a lot of people go, why would a 767 be found on this route? A lot of times, folks, you find these bigger jets on these mainly to clear the gate so other aircraft can go in and out of the Sydney gate that they're in. And since they sent it up to the Gold Coast in this case, they could put 190, 200 people on it, and the airplane makes some money instead of being dead weight at an airport. Unless, of course, it's got some maintenance issues that they want to work out. Okay, and it looks like we are right on glide path. That's what this indicator is right here. It's a little bit below. It'll make it up. And we'll just watch our speed so that it doesn't get out of hand. So, folks, if you're so inclined and like to make a prediction of what you think the landing will be like in Sydney, feet per minute wise, feel free to put your prediction in. It's the exclamation mark, the word predict, put a space in there, and then a negative whatever number. Looking ahead. All right, looks still pretty quiet on the ATC front. All right, let's do a flyby. Like I said, I have got to work on getting better sound files for this aircraft. Whew. Not the greatest. looks like system-wide, I am the only one flying for Piedmont. Cool. As we're coming around Muswell Brook, headed to Sydney. Definitely kind of a cloudy day down here in Australia, at least on the right coast. Don't know what the left coast has going on for it. Still thinking I need maybe I guess that's the best I can do. I try to make it so you all as the audience can see the gauges just as well as I do, but sometimes that's just not doable. All right, we're getting to 25,000. Let's get the wing lights back on and get the peoples to their seats. Oh, I never let them get up. All right, everything's looking good speed-wise, the whole 9 yards. I have no speed restrictions, just those couple of altitude restrictions we got to meet. Speaking of which, let's make sure they're written up properly here. Okay, Burrow below 9,000 and VASA above 8. So yeah, they're in there just the way they need to be. Okay. Actually, we're going to set it to, we'll go with medium brakes. All right, let me make sure we didn't miss anything. Auto brakes, EFIS panels set for DH. ILS panel set, and we're looking good. So again, I hope y'all are having a grandiose weekend. Keep it safe. Love to see you the next time we come on stream. And if you're new, click follow. Love to see you each and every trip. As best you can. I know life gets in the way, so strangely enough, I kind of get the reminiscing feeling that we're on Los Angeles if we were coming into 1-6 right. Does not look like you veer much at all to get on that localizer. Just this 50, 60 miles straight in run. So, granted, we're going 3/4, so we got to go around, but still, that's the feeling I get. All right, we're coming through 18,000, which is the US and most of North America's transition level, not Australia. Oh, how dare that passenger put that shade down like that. It's one thing I hate. Ugh, auto shades. Probably a way to turn it off. I just haven't figured it out. That's funny. All right, let's start getting ready, folks. Once we get into the clouds here, things will start to heat up a little bit. Hey, Matt 1997, welcome aboard. Thanks for supporting the stream as we're descending into Sydney down under. Granted, you can't really see much down under, it's really cloudy. Unlike our one flight from Sydney out to Norfolk Island, which should have never left the ground to start with, but you know, we're in a flight sim. All right. There's a little sliver of down under. Not sure if that's the ILS in front of us getting picked up yet or not. Let me see. Can I? Nope, not yet. All right. However, let's come down here and zoom a little. We are getting close enough to our transition level. I'm going to go ahead and set Sydney 1029. Oh, disconnected. Not sure why. Helps to go the right way, folks. 1029. Can't tell if I'm online or not. I think I'm having a hiccup with the internet here. Really don't know what's going on here. Let's find out doing this. Yeah, what's going on? It's working. I have no idea, but we cannot connect to VATSIM for some reason. All right. Gotta love it. Let me check one other source. That ain't gonna help. It's gotta be internet. Can't tell if we're running on Twitch or not. I mean, wow, this is kind of interesting. Shows my internet's up. What the heck is going on now? Well, if someone would be so kind as to let me know we're still online with a quick chat, that would be great. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, folks, you're not going to miss a thing. Twitch, I apologize and hope we're not having too much internet issues. Do not know why. Huh, interesting. Yep, still here on Twitch. Okay. Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. We're going to continue in. Hopefully, I know another way to check. I just thought about that one. Let's see how we're doing for the most on load. Yeah, we're on the Piedmont map, so the flight won't get any problems getting through. All right, well, we'll just keep going on. Sorry that we're no longer on VATSIM, it just won't connect, so I'm just going to try something here, recycle it and see what happens. Yeah, it's just not wanting to connect. Who knows? All right, well, we're just going to continue on. Let the distractions try to be distractions and keep going. Okay, let's go on down to 6,000 now. Yeah, it just won't connect. I don't get it. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we'll go with that route. I'm not sure where Hawker is today. He'll probably doing stuff with his family, but yeah, he hasn't been in here. He popped in a couple times last week and popped right out with the way work is. So yeah, Hawker has maybe he's working on the Hawker. All right, let's see here. I should not be on that map. All right, so we're coming up on our 6,000 and at Zonka, at or above, or at or above. We'll go ahead and bring us on down. What is our first fix here? 3,000. I'm going to bring us down to 5,000. What I find interesting here is connecting to network has never gone and said anything. You know, it's been going now for a good 4 minutes and it's kind of not what you're used to here, folks. Usually it would time out by now in trying to connect. I don't know what is going on. Oh well. Their loss. Hey, look at that. It finally connected. Took only 5 minutes. Oh, you gotta love VATSIM sometimes. Love to hate it. All right, 1029. Okay, across the board looks good. Into the clouds we go again. Let's go ahead and get the anti-ice on just in case for the engines. Even though we're at 13, we'll keep it safe that way. And there we go. Oh, that's it. All right, so there is our 3,000 foot mark right here. We hope to be around 4,000 here. Actually, we're coming down to 5. And let's go ahead and start pulling speeds back. All right, there's 210. Okay. And as soon as we clear up, I am going to set us to come around to our fix here. Okay, coming about. Flaps 1. Okay, so we're set for the localizer. Here, I'll just pull this up so you can see. What I'm going to do is get a little closer and then set a good intercept course just behind it. Actually, we're not a good 90 off yet. Let's kind of a little. All right, let's go ahead and set up for it. Click approach. And let's go flaps 5. All right, at this point, folks, we will be 13 miles out. So that's why the wheels are staying in the wells. Did they bring their sunshade up to be nice to us? They did not. But the clouds look really good. That's something X-Plane worked on for this release, folks. They really got some pretty good clouds in here. A lot of work still to do with weather, and I'm going to tell you, everyone has a lot of work to do when it comes to weather. Uh, so, but this is default, folks. If you want the really good stuff, guess what? Buy Active Sky. When you buy it, it should be right up to snuff. So, hey, we're coming on the localizer, 13 miles out. And at 13, I'm going to slow to 160 because it's sometimes very difficult to get this plane to slow. Glide slope. All right, folks, here we go. Wow, not much to see out the nose, is there? Making Charlotte. Oh, that would be a good airport. All right, let's go flaps 10. Slow to 140. Okay, brake set, tapped that. We are set and slowing. Bringing the gear down. Okay, they're in transit. There's the red. 3 greens, what we're looking. Boom. Well, look at that. We're starting to see some land. Okay. Now remember, we set for 200. Well, I don't know. Can I get 206 out of this? Nope. I'll go 210. And I still can't see the runway. Let's try up on the nose. I can barely make it. Oh, now we're starting to get a real nice look at it. Okay, my airplane. Okay, let's go another notch or two of flap to get us in that groove. Getting a little low, so we just nose up a little. Flaps full, brakes set to 2, lights on, flaps 30 and 30. Gear 3 green. Still low.
1,000.
Okay, we're set at 140. Stable landing. Okay, got the visual
500.
cues.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Welcome to Sydney, folks. All right. That was very rude of that person to put that sunshade down on us like that. All right, folks, welcome into Sydney. Let's get the strobes off, lights off. APU started. Crossing the runway. Get our spoilers down. All right, radar off. Come down here, turn it off as well. And put the transponder. All right, welcome in, folks. Let's find us a parking spot. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. I have that seat right over there. Pardon me, excuse me. All right, well, we took off from this side of this terminal. It's fitting. We returned to it, even though we're in a plane much bigger. I think we'll go right on the end there, folks. Not that it looks like it has much more space in it for us, but who knows, it might. Indicate 49. Brake set. All right, let's get up here, kick on that bleed valve real quick, as well as the generator. Engine 1 off. All right, welcome in, folks. Hope you enjoyed the ride here. Even though we had some VATSIM issues. Oh, hurrah! Hey, welcome in before attitude. Welcome. Hope your week has gone well with the airlines. So there we are, folks, in the gate. So, how'd we do? I know I saw a pretty good number on the landing. Let's see what the read was from these folks over at Piedmont. It's filed. And what did they get to say about me? It was a horrid landing, just horrible. Not enough smoke. Just waiting on the good old internet. Oh, yeah, we made up for it. Yeah, our landing into uh, what the heck was that called? Gold Coast, Australia. Yeah, when we went up in the 727, yeah, we still did just as horrible, kind of, as we did into Norfolk, except we weren't a fireball. We just landed at about 700 feet a minute. Into here, they got us at 48 feet a minute. So that should make them feel better, and I'm sure it's because it's a new livery. Why they are reviewing it? Yep, the livery. Hopefully they don't have a problem. They shouldn't, but you never know. They are a very, um, uh, how do I want to say, very strict with how you fly within their organization, which is their perfect prerogative to do. So if you're looking to fly for something like that, they're a pretty good one to check out. They have Piedmont, origin before U.S. Airways, Pan Am. They have uh, what's that one out west? Oh, I've flown for them too. It's not Western. Anyway, they have a bunch of airlines. This being one of them that they fly historic airlines basically. So if you're into that, this might be something for you to check out. They have the 727s available to you, even the Airbus 320, 767 200s, the BAE, different airlines with that had those they fly for, with them. So really a good airline, folks. Their sister airlines are Spirit Virtual and a Virtual American, which just came online here in the last couple of months, and really good sound software you use to track the flights. But that's Piedmont Virtual. Let's talk this flight, shall we? All right, so we'll bring up Sim Toolkit. Now, yesterday we were actually not able to um, replay the flight. It crashed the desktop then. So we'll see if we get lucky today after we review it through Sim Toolkit. All right, there's Sim Toolkit. Recorded in at 190 feet a minute. I do not know what parameters these airlines and this software look at. You would think it's the same. I don't know. But yeah. So you can see Otto did a really good job. Look at that perfect flying. Man, Otto, great job. Okay, finishing the flight. Okay. Now, what you'll do is go in here, click, and then click View Details. Now, this gives you the basics. So our landing speed, 130. Now, if we want to review real quick, let me pull that down. Let me see if I can't get the FMC up here. Okay, 128. 128 was what we were shooting for. Not bad, folks. Not bad at all. So let's look at the full report. This gives you all the different types of metrics you could do out there. Now, we were outside the landing zone. That I could tell you. And I knew it because we drifted up on the glide path and I couldn't get her back down in time to make a decent landing for him. So that's what happened. But real quick, for those of you new, I'm going to go through it quick here. This line right here, this white line where you got the blue dot, of course the blue dot's invisible in the real world. This is the threshold, meaning anything from here this way, you're not supposed to, in the real world, land in. I specify that reason because we're in a flight sim world. Just like I took off for Norfolk Island when Norfolk Island at my arrival time was below minimums. That's a no-no. But in the flight sim, actual FAA isn't as mean. Matter of fact, it isn't even existent. All right. So, and now you've got all these neat little hash marks going down here. I'll explain this one in a second. They're 500 feet down the runway. So I landed 3,100, almost 3,200 feet down the runway. 3,000 foot mark here. This marks the end of the landing area. Doesn't mean you can't land. It just means that's what the pilots shoot for to land in, because that means they have plenty of runway to get the bird stopped. However, we're on a 13,000 foot runway. 10,000 feet, if I can't stop a 767, means I have no brakes, which means it wouldn't have stopped at 13,000 feet unless the reverse thrust really does its job. So, all right, now I mentioned these. These are the visual cue you're looking at coming down the runway. Big pads. And I'm here to tell you, folks, they stand out just like they stand out here. That's where we aim to try to land. Your PAPIs or VATSIMs, depending on the approach lighting system, are usually right in the vicinity of where, when they light up, they're going to put you pretty much right on top of it. All right, so everything looks good here, folks. Look at that, a G on the landing, 130 for the speed. I mean, almost perfect, but there was slight crab because we were having some wind issues. Hey, beautiful landing. Beautiful landing indeed. So, all right, we are going to try this again. Let's just take a look outside, make sure nothing is in the way to possibly keep us from going in reverse. Flight factor, I seem to have trouble sometimes doing this. So let's try it again, see if it works. If not, well, it'll crash to desktop. Hey, and it'll also crash me off of VATSIM. Forgot to do that. Serves you right, ex-pilot, for not being there when we were on approach. All right, so let's go backwards, shall we? I think we'll start the replay a little further. Oh, right there. And we'll get some music up here appropriate. Land the end. All right. Pretty stable approach. Sorry for that sniffle. Again, there's those big white pads. There's your paddles. And the end of the landing zone. Ooh, folks, that is wonderful landing. Okay, a little hard on the nose gear, but you know what? That was a good landing. And it looks nice and stable, just a long landing. It floated. And we're going to see if our passengers are going to be behave themselves and let us see out. Let's take a look from the corner of the roadway, as I call the Hawker 125 road test visual. Yep, we floated. All right, let's see how the passengers liked it. Hey, they're awake. I wonder how many in real life do long landings here. All right, that was a good landing, folks. See if the other person has woke up. Hey, and they have too. Wow. Welcome to Sydney. Nice landings. We'll look at it one more time, maybe two. I want to see something from the front. Kind of flared a little early is what I think I may have done too to make us float. All right, not bad. Let's look from the tower, if that's even possible. Wow. All right, folks. Well, yeah, we could have brought the nose down a little gentler. But anyway, hey, welcome into Sydney, as I would like to say, and set 15 Heavy has arrived. Folks, really want to say thank you for flying with Mike. It is a pleasure anytime I get to fly, especially on a weekend when a lot of you all are free to watch. I'm going to go right to the gate, get the jetway over to it, and maybe let's try again. There we go. Oh, wait, it was moving. I love it. There it goes. All right, folks, I want to say again, thank you for flying with Mike. Hope you all can join us again. New to the channel, smash that follow button on Twitch. If you're new to us on YouTube, smash subscribe and ring the bell there so you get notified when there's a new video. Folks, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll be back next week with some more flying fun here at Flying with Mike. Hope you all have a great day. Oh, and don't worry, folks, I have a great devotion for you today. Just standing by to get it rolling here for you. All right, now you all have seen the verse of the day. If not, we'll put it up here for you. It's basically be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him, firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. Folks, when I read this verse, the first things that come to mind to me, that Peter's telling us about. It's 1 Peter, by the way, 5:8. Chapter 5, 8, and 9. Stay alert. Folks, that is the big thing we're called to do. Stay alert. Be of sober mind. Back in that day, being of sober mind's a little different than of today. There, the drink that was drank most of the day was wine. So to be sober of mind, just be mindful of what you're doing, but stay alert at all times. Why? Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever let your guard down? Then something bad happens, or something that shouldn't have happened then happens. Or did you just get simply lazy and that something that shouldn't have happened happened? Or got distracted or complacent about things in life happening all around us that you're just apathetic to? Or even preoccupied when someone needs your help and you just kind of walk on by, I don't see that. Or you're preoccupied with people's opinions about you, that you lose your focus. Let me take a second here to kind of introduce to you the man that wrote this book of the Bible, actually two of them. Peter. You may know him. He was one of Jesus's closest disciples. The one Jesus who would pronounce in Matthew chapter 6, verse 18, "Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." This same man that we just talked about is the rock of the church. He left everything to follow Jesus. He loved, he trusted, he believed wholeheartedly in Jesus so much that he even professed at that, we'll call it infamous, but it wasn't infamous. There was so much that came out of that Last Supper, to include this, that he would go and say, "Even if I must die with you, I will not deny you." Yet a few hours later, we know he denied him 3 times when faced with his own reputation on the line, or maybe even his security. Being said he's a follower of Jesus, his life might have been threatened. But yet, as Jesus said he would, he denied Christ times. He took his eyes off Jesus a second time. Remember the first time? He was walking on water out to Jesus. When he reached Jesus and realized what he was doing, he sank. Took his sight off Jesus. So if anyone could write to us about staying alert, staying focused, staying on track, Peter is the one to write about it and to listen to. Bottom line here is, with Satan prowling about, we need to stay watchful, folks. I mean, Satan prowls like a lion, looking to consume Christians who are not alert, just like Peter was in those scenes that I pointed out. And we're to stay of sober mind so that we can be alert. If we are to resist this devil, we have to stand firm with Christ. Don't lose our sight. Keep going. Be strong. Be courageous. Read God's word. That's how we stay alert. Fight our social calendars that tie us away from being able to spend time and make time and connect with God. And find a God-centered, Bible-preaching church with people who are like-minded of you. That's how we resist the devil. That's what Peter's telling us here. And for those of you who do and we all do, folks. Let's be honest. Let our guards down. Hey, ask for forgiveness and just move on. Move forward. Don't get consumed in that, that you lost, that you let your guard down here. Slipped up. Oh, and by the way, Peter, that we were talking about, slipped up denying Jesus 3 times. Jesus, after being raised from the dead, sought Peter out. He forgave him. He restored him. All the while, he was cooking him breakfast at the same time on the beach. Jesus gave him another chance, just like he'll give you one. And the grace that God and Jesus extended to Peter for his dropping the ball, Peter would go on and boldly preach at Pentecost the gospel that Jesus taught not only him, but the 12 disciples, now 11, to over 3,000 people, all of which would then go on to be baptized. The beginning of the church. The beginning of those believers who formed into a church of Christ that lives on to today. Hope you find some solace in that, folks. God bless you all. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.